Hey, buddy. Howdy, hey.
How's it going? You know what? I was a little worried today because when I first came to the laptop, I was trying to get into the internet and the stream and all that stuff, and it kept on buffering. I got, please, for the love of God, do not do this to me today. Today of all days, it was fine yesterday. It'll be fine tomorrow, but it was screwed up today. Like
Always
always
does it.
happens. Always happens. But here we are. First
Here we are.
episode of the new format.
Yep.
And I will be honest, I remember today about, oh crap, we need to change the intro.
Yeah, not too much paranormal going on this time round. Not
No,
today.
no. But it did have words in it like real life, true stories.
It does. I don't think it's just
It,
the imagery, isn't it? And obviously that's what you and me are
yeah,
known for. So
yeah. So it's like, okay, so do I change it? After watching it, I go, do I change it? Do I go in there and add a couple of things?
I mean,
Like
maybe we
maybe,
could. Maybe.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I will let you know though when I put it up on to the RSS feed and it goes out to all the podcasts throughout everywhere. I don't even know how many it goes to. I think it goes to like 100.
Hmm.
So I take out the intro and all that stuff anyways.
Fair enough.
So, but of course, they can't see anything. They're only hearing the music. So,
Yeah.
but when it goes up on all the other places, people will see. And the great thing is, especially with this show, and I've said this in the past to you, the replays are what's really big, and
Yeah, definitely.
we get to getting the replays is important. So, but we have a great guest today, and is this really out of your realm?
I mean, you've seen me in person, Brian. You know how far out of my realm this is. This, I
And
mean, I'm definitely gonna probably be motivated after this show. I'll tell you that much for certain.
yeah, and like I like Darrin because I asked Darrin if he went to the gym today. I didn't go to the gym today, but I will be there tomorrow. But I usually go to a gym, but lately what I've been doing is going to the condo gym.
Oh yeah.
So, but there's things in there that I really like that they don't have. So you have to be sometimes creative when you're going into the gym. But we're gonna have hopefully have some people come in the room today. And if you have some questions, you want to ask any questions, go right ahead, and then we'll get them up for Darrin. But and it's funny because I've known Darrin and it really aged us. I've known him close to 40 years. I've known this
Look,
guy.
in perspective, I'm 31, so I weren't even born yet.
That's true. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. That was nice. That was awesome. But yeah, so I don't know if you guys have seen this guy on TikTok, but I will let you know his links are down below for his Facebook and his TikTok. So if you want to go follow him on Facebook and TikTok, you can do that. Now I will let you know he's got a huge following on TikTok. And one thing you're gonna realize with Darrin right away and what I love, absolutely no filter. He gives you the straight answer and he doesn't bullshit around. I know Lex was telling me there was one particular video that he likes. He's going to let Darrin know which video that is, and he thinks it's extremely funny, and it's right in Lex's area, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
Darrin Robinson has been a trainer for I guess over 30 years, or just around 30 years. So this guy knows his shit. So if you're looking to go on the path of being healthy, this is the guy that you want to be paying attention to because it's no bullshit. It's straight to the point, and he will tell you, like, I don't know, I'm sure he won't. I'm sure he'll tell you the truth, but won't be mean about it. But he will tell you the truth, and I respect that. I really do respect that, and I respect what he does. I've gone to him several times and asked him questions because obviously we don't know everything, and sometimes I get a little bit overwhelmed. I've asked him about food and stuff like that, but we're going to get into all that stuff today. So let's introduce him. everyone, this is Darrin Robinson. Buddy.
Ta-da. There you go. Well, you had such an intro that I was listening to all the fucking music and shit, and I'm like, holy crap, flashlights, ghosts. I was like, I'll just come in with a ta-da.
Yeah. It's funny. I was messaging when I messaged Darrin last week and asked him if he wanted to come on the show. I told him that we were changing the format because he knows I do paranormal. So we want to do like actresses, fitness, all those type of. He goes, well, that is a huge jump from what you're used to doing. So
very true.
But the first thing I wanted to say, and I didn't say it in the groom, is that we hate you because you live in Mexico. Yes. And it's warm all year round. So tell us what Mexico life is really like.
Mexico life is awesome. It actually was more awesome 2 years ago when I got 17 pesos for the Canadian dollar instead of fucking 12. But so that part sucked. But the people are amazing. They're super nice, super friendly. Obviously the weather. So I live just in a small fishing village, which gives you kind of this imagination of, the boats everywhere and people are just walking around with their pants rolled up and shit, but it's still kind of a touristy area. It's just about 20 minutes outside of Cancun and between Cancun and Playa del Carmen. So yeah, the weather, I've been down here for 2.5 years now. So I have not seen snow in all that time. And I've completely climatized to this now. So in Celsius, typically it doesn't get below 20 at night. Okay. And during the daytime, it's always like, even in the winter, it's our winter, just like you guys right now. And during the day, it's like 30 degrees, in the summer, it can get up to 40 degrees and shit. And at nighttime in the summer, it'll be 30 degrees in the evening. But it dropped down to 18 the other night. And I went outside and I nearly froze my balls off. I was like, what the fuck is this? 18 bloody degrees. The next morning, everybody's up in the neighborhood. They're like, God, I had to close my windows. It was so cold last night. But yeah, so the warm weather is awesome. I'm literally 1.5 kilometers from the ocean. So I can just go down to the beach on my bike in a few minutes. Lots of all-inclusive resorts in this area too. So I could literally go and pay like $90 and I can spend a whole day at an all-inclusive resort if I wanted a little getaway on a Wednesday or something like that and just drink my face off and eat whatever the fuck I want. But obviously don't do that all the time. But yeah, it's great, man. Like main reason I came down here was during the pandemic, there was like all the lockdowns and shit going on in Ontario. So my business was closed for like a total of 12 months, my wife's business and shit. It kind of forced me to transition into training people online, and which was a bit of a struggle at first to figure out.
Yeah.
But so when I was building my online business, we had another lockdown come and we had no idea how long it was going to be. So we just got a one-way ticket to Playa del Carmen or to Mexico. And everybody was so different down here. They weren't freaking out. It's like, hey, man, we've got bigger shit to worry about than a fucking sniffle and stuff like that, So people weren't fighting within their families, who's vaccinated, who's not, and shit like that. So it was just a different mindset down here. I mean, we went back home after 4 months because the lockdown lasted 4 months. Everybody was acting even crazier than at the beginning of the pandemic. And I'm like, holy shit, there's more information out there now and you're acting like you know less. And so I was like, adios, Canada. I'm fucking out of here. Let's sell our shit and let's load up the truck. And well, we didn't load up the truck. We just grabbed some suitcases and our dogs and jumped on a fucking plane and away we went. So yeah, zero regrets though. It's awesome down here.
Yeah. And I tell you, I was actually considering it at one point because me and Darrin had spoken. And but you're so right, because when COVID was going on, there seemed to be something different every single day. And new information, false information, 99% of the time it was false. But, even still, people are still walking around with masks. And I just want to turn to them. I go, why?
Exactly.
Like, it's been scientifically proven that masks don't work.
The
Well, and
best thing
especially
about
back
it,
then too, like you could make a mask out of a pair of fucking panties and some freaking elastics, you know? It's like the guy painting your house has a freaking more hardcore breathing apparatus on, but we are faced with the most deadly fucking virus in the history of the planet. And you can get some paper towel, roll it up and put some freaking string on it and you have a mask, you know?
Yeah.
Or even flying down to Mexico. Like number one was January 2021. There were like 6 people on the plane. Like Toronto Pearson Airport was fucking empty. There was nobody there. Like the Tim Hortons is closed. Everything's closed, right? And as we get on the plane, you got to have your mask on. Heaven forbid you didn't. You know, you'd have a cop there pulling you out and shit. But apparently COVID takes a break when the food's being served, you know? So it's like, and people that didn't see any holes in this nonsense, right? I'm like, okay, hold on a second, you know, but if I'm eating or drinking, it's okay to have it off. Meanwhile, fucking obesity is freaking rampant. And that's what you'd even see too. You'd see somebody in a grocery store with their fucking mask on their scooter, 400 fucking pounds, you know, and they're like, if you didn't have a mask, they're looking at you like you're not looking out for them. It's like, here's an idea, eat a carrot, you fat fuck. You know, it's like the worst thing that can happen to you is the fact that you're grossly over fucking weight. You know, you're killing yourself from the inside out, you know, randomly shoving shit in your mouth that's designed in a fucking lab, not your grandma's kitchen. All these chemicals and shit, putting them right in the hole in your face and inside your body. Yet you're concerned about me wearing a fucking mask. Like crazy.
Yeah. So let's get right into this. And for people that obviously don't know you, how did you get into the fitness industry? What inspired you to become a fitness trainer as well?
Well, as you know, in high school, I was far from athletic looking. The classic skinny fat. I just looked like a hideous chick with my long mullet and shit like that. But it was through the tail end of high school, like we'd all go into the weight room or whatever, you know, and Bruce and Paul had chests and like muscles like men. And, you know, I did not. I had ribs and nipples and stuff. And
same with me. Yeah.
Yes, we weren't known for our physical prowess, but that's okay. You don't want to peak too early. You know, you need to kind of peak a little bit later. But yeah, so I've been working out for years, trying to build muscle. I had no idea what I was doing. Then this thing called the internet came out, and I started getting in there and all these forums and message groups and all that kind of shit back in the day, and learning as much as I could. I ended up, it was my son was actually about to be born. And I said, you know what? I have to give this kid a dad that actually looks like a fucking man instead of a boy. And I was like, no, I'm adamant that I'm going to figure this shit out. So I researched as much as I could. I had some buddies that had been working out for years. So I started going to the gym with them, started trying all kinds of crazy diets. I would keep notes on everything. So if I was one of the crazy diets I tried was, I knew that protein was important. Okay. I didn't know how much I should have or anything like that. But I'm like, I'm going to eat 7 cans of tuna a day, nothing else, just 7 cans of tuna. And I'm going to get all this protein, 210 grams, not really all that much, and just protein, no carbs, no fat. So unbeknownst to me, there's this process that goes on where your body converts protein into sugar in your body if you have no carbs or fat that you're consuming with it. So, and also there's 4 calories per gram of protein. So I'm taking in a whopping 840 calories a day. Okay. Kind of like a dementia 100-year-old woman who only weighs 70 pounds. I'm eating her diet, and I'm not seeing any results, and I don't understand why. So I end up doing all kinds of weird things like this. Like I said, recording everything, doing body comps on myself. How much body fat do I have? How much muscle do I have? Trying this method for a month or so, then trying to eat this way. And eventually I ended up becoming certified as a personal trainer. I won some money on the lotto. I had gotten 5 numbers and the bonus number, the 649. We're going back like
really
mid 90s. Yeah. and I won $90,000.
Wow, good for you. I did not hear about that.
Yeah, well, you don't put that out there, because then all of a sudden losers you haven't seen since fucking high school come out of the woodwork. And well, the funny thing was, though, I remember going to pick up the money downtown Toronto, and it was a $10 million draw, and this ancient couple won the $10 million. And I'm like, they've got maybe 2-3 good years left. It's like trade tickets. Come on, man. I'm like 20 something. Yeah. But anyways, so since I had that money, I found the most difficult course that I could take. It was an online course. And like the textbook was like over 1,000 pages. It was just so much information. So I got certified as a trainer, not to become a trainer, but to learn more about how to change my own body. So the more I learned, and when I had that education, now all my results started to make sense. I can see why this is happening. I can see why that's happening. Other people, and then my progress started really amping up. Other people would see this, and then they would start coming to me going, hey, can you help me? Blah, blah, blah. I had a corporate job at the time, but I ended up getting walked from my corporate job. It got bought by another company, got a year severance pay. And I was like, what am I going to do? And I said, you know what? Maybe I'll get into this training thing. It seems like it would be fun to just hang out in the gym all day and help people get in shape. And that's what I did. So yeah, I was just like, fuck the corporate world. If I also too, like most guys that were in shape, we'd kind of look good for the summer, and then the winter'd come, the sweaters and coats come out. So you'd like eat like shit and get your belly and stuff like that. But I was like, I want something that's going to keep me in shape, keep me on my toes. And being a walking billboard, I figured was probably the best way. So yeah, I got into this business, and no regrets.
Do you find at that particular time it was because nowadays, like, it's everywhere you turn, there's somebody, a video or a blog or a Facebook page or whatever it may be. Do you find that when you got into it, it was really the right time because people were still really learning? And I'm thinking that's why you have done so well.
Yeah, well, I realized too. So when I first started, I got a job at Good Life, and it was a gym with about 10,000 members. And there was 20 other trainers working there, most of which actually weren't even in shape. They just looked like average Joes or Janes or whatever. Yeah. And I was always like in tip-top shape, like ripped all the time. And so people would kind of flock to me because they're like, okay, well, this guy definitely talks the talk and walks the walk and whatnot. And my clients were getting great results because I wasn't only training them. Again, from my own transformation, I realized your diet is as important, if not more important, than what you're doing in the gym. And considering 98% of people are coming and their goal is to lose fat, obviously their diet's going to be crucial. I always tell people, it's like, you don't have to exercise to lose fat. You could be in a coma and lose fat. Okay. That's all the way that you eat. It's your calories and shit like that. So I was doing meal plans for my clients back then. Nobody else was. So my clients were having crazy results. They were plastered all over the gym. And Good Life actually hated the fact that I was doing meal plans for my clients because they're like, we don't promote that stuff. And I'm like, well, I know you don't, but and at that point too, I was the most successful trainer in their history. So I was like crushing all their sales goals and stuff like that, or all their sales records. Because again, I mean, we had a massive gym and everybody wanted to train with me. So I was selling for other trainers and shit like that because there's only so many hours in the day. But I realized after about 4 years becoming fitness manager and stuff like that, I had to open my own studios because I'm like, I need to create this whole lifestyle thing. And it's not about just coming to work out. Most of the people that go and see a trainer get nowhere because the trainers don't really even know what they're doing. They make people exercise, okay, but with no goal in mind. So for example, there was one trainer that worked at Good Life, and he was an ex-Olympic rower. He was in his 30s, great genetics. He looked amazing. He was an Olympian. Obviously, he's got great genetics. And those Bosu balls, the thing looks like a breast implant, sits on the floor, right? They had just come out. So he's got this dude standing on there with one fucking leg, and he's doing a tricep extension with a dumbbell here, and he's doing a bicep curl here, right? And he's all over the place. And after the workout, I go up to the trainer. I'm like, what's your client's goal? Oh, my client's trying to, lose some fat, build some muscle and stuff. I'm like, okay, so what's with that fucked up exercise you're doing with them and shit? And he's like, what do you mean? I go, why are you doing that with him? If his goal is to build muscle and burn fat, what's this doing? He's like, well, it's fun. It's something fun. I go, you didn't say his goal was to have fun. You said his goal was to look a specific way. I go, I've never seen you do that exercise. I go, you do a bodybuilding style workout. Why are you having him do the opposite of what you do when your goal is the same? And he just kind of looked at me confused. And I'm like, this is what the personal training industry is. They just get you to exercise with no thought into what is that exercise doing for you. Where I would explain to people there's sport-specific training. A marathon runner is going to train different than a sprinter, and they're going to train different than a hockey player and whatnot. And there's goal-specific training. So if you have a specific goal to look a certain way, I shouldn't have you do something that people, for example, a bodybuilder, a fitness model, whatever, their goal is to have as little body fat as possible and to maintain as much muscle mass as possible. That's basically everybody's goal when they're going to the gym. They're trying to get in shape. They want to drop body fat. They want to build muscle. So why don't we kind of do more what the people that do that for a living do, and less of shit that they wouldn't do that. You're not going to see a bodybuilder doing burpees. You're not going to see them doing sprints and shit like that and running on the treadmill for hours and on the elliptical. They don't do that stuff because it's not going to help them get to their goal any faster. So if there's not a return on the investment, it's not worth doing. So everything I would do with my clients is, you're only going to have to work out as much as you need to. You're going to eat the way you're supposed to eat and stuff, and magic shit is going to happen. We're not going to waste any time doing something that's not going to move you to your goal any quicker. So it set me aside from the crowd because, again, the majority of trainers then, before social media, were exercise buddies. There was an appointment for you to show up to. And then when the whole social media thing came out, well, fuck, everybody's an expert on social media now. And you've got a 20-year-old guy who's blessed with great genetics, who's like, I help men over 40 get in shape and da-da-da. It's like, dude, you're not even going to be 40 for 20 years. What the fuck do you know about being 40? You know, it's like, I'm not going to advertise to make a single mom's life easier. I'm not a single mom. I have zero experience in there, you know, but I have experience being over 40 and being in shape and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a gong show out there. My industry is terrible.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like I work out. I have a membership at LA Fitness.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I watch the trainers all the time, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen a trainer training someone and they're on their fucking phone. All the time. And I want to go over to them and say, listen, are you training this person or are you trying to text your friend or looking on social media? It pisses me off. And I'm not even training with them.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. And the thing is, people accept that. And I don't understand it. When I was fitness manager at Good Life, let alone my own studios, which is a whole other story. But when I was fitness manager at Good Life, any of the trainers working there, I said, I don't want to see you sitting down when you're with your client. I don't want to see you sitting on a bench. I don't want to see you sitting on a ball. I don't want to see you with a coffee in your hand. I go, if you have a bottle of water or something, I said, maybe that's okay. I said, I don't want to see you by the reception eating fucking pizza. I go, you're going to be a mentor to that person. And I said, as a matter of fact, I don't even want to see you with, with your clipboard and your pen when your client's working out and you're recording reps. I want to see you in contact with that client, spotting them in case something happens. You standing 10 feet from your client holding a freaking clipboard is not going to help them in any way, shape, or form if something goes wrong. So I didn't care if someone's even using a machine. They're doing a seated chest press machine. My hand is going to be on that moving apparatus just in case they're getting to the top and they can't go up. I'm going to push that extra little bit, you know, so they get a nice contraction in proper form and then lower it under control. So seeing a trainer with a phone in his hand, to me, it's just as bad as seeing a trainer with anything in his hand that's not a part of his client's body or the equipment that they're using.
Yeah. And it really, honestly, it really bothers me. But anyways, Lex?
No, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, Brian knows what I look like in person. I don't go to the gym. I'm not a very healthy person. I mean, I consume too much soda for my own good. But I used to go to the gym when I was a little bit younger. But the thing that I did, I loved going with my friends. Because obviously I felt a bit more comfortable being with them doing it rather than going by myself. I was going to say to you, do you have any advice for anyone that thinks that gyms are intimidating if they don't have a collective to go there with to start with?
Yeah. So Here's the funny thing. If you ask most people, like, what's the intimidating part of the gym? They're like, oh, well, the big guys, throwing weight, and I don't want them judging me. And I'll tell them, I go, the big guys don't even see you. I go, you're fucking invisible. I go, you think the big bodybuilder dudes are like, hey, check out that skinny dude that just walked in, or hey, look at that fat guy over there. They don't care. What they're looking at is another big guy that comes in, and they're like, guy should work his calves more. Or look at this guy. He's walking around like he's a fucking 300-pound bodybuilder. What is he, 210? Like, they're very catty and super insecure themselves. Okay. Like, you could literally see a guy who is in great shape, and you could say, are you going to do anything about the little love handles there? And that's going to stay with them for the remainder of the month. He's going to be, fucking guy, man. He called me on the love handles, whatever. They've got so many hangups and body dysmorphia and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I tell people, like with my clients, my online clients, they're going to go into the gym. They've got my app to work out and shit like that. And I go, here's the thing. You could be confident going in there, because anybody that does know anything is going to watch you do a program that actually makes sense. You're going to have proper form. You're going to be working at the right intensity. And all they're going to do is go, wow, look at this person. Good for them. And no one gives a shit about the out of shape people. And newsflash too, 98% of people in a gym are not in great shape. They're average Joes. The majority of them are there sweating their ass off for an hour that day, and then they leave and they go to the fucking Tim Hortons and grab themselves a double and a muffin or something, and just negate every single thing they just did in the gym anyways, and then they'll go back tomorrow and repeat the process. But yeah, you just go in and do your thing. Like, who cares? Who cares? Nobody.
Yeah. You know what? The biggest thing I always hear from gym members is you got to leave your ego at the door.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's it. Now, there is a term out there, and I really wanted to bring this up because obviously you are the person to talk about this too. There is a word out there, or two words out there, that you hear a lot, and a lot of people might not know what it means. Caloric or calorie deficit. Mm-hmm. What is that?
Okay. So it's so funny that you say that, because anytime I do a post and I mention caloric deficit, people will comment. They're like, what is a caloric deficit? And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? What's a financial deficit? What's any kind of deficit? It's not having enough. So a caloric deficit is basically eating less calories than your body requires to maintain its present weight. Okay. So the first thing that you have to establish is your maintenance calories, which most people have no idea what their maintenance caloric level is. Like, most people have no idea how many calories they're consuming in a day anyways. Like, somebody even tell me I'm in a caloric deficit. I'm like, oh, how many calories are you consuming? Well, I don't track them. I go, oh, okay. That's like,
so you're not in a
caloric deficit. It's like,
then.
Tell me how much money you have in the bank account that you've never looked at a day in your life. Like, that's what that is. Asinine shit.
Yeah.
So let's just say your maintenance calories to stay as you are, with the same activity level and stuff. And when I'm even determining maintenance calories, I'm looking at somebody's weight, their height, their body composition, what percentage of their body is fat, what percentage is lean mass, because you can have two dudes that are 200 pounds. One's 40% body fat, the other is 10% body fat. They both have completely different caloric levels that they need to be on, right? So because of, again, their the distribution of body fat and whatnot, we're not feeding fat, we're just feeding muscle. And so I'll determine what their maintenance calories are. And then depending on how big or small, how much weight they have to lose, I'll determine what their caloric deficit is going to be. So again, if there are 3,000 calories a day to maintain themselves, and it's a fairly lean person trying to get super lean, I might just put them in a caloric deficit of 500 calories. If they're a really big person, it could be 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. It depends. I've had people, their maintenance calories were 10,000 a day, 500-pound people. And I chop that in half. I'm like, I'm going to give you a 5,000 calorie a day deficit, but you're still eating 5,000 calories a day. And here's an obese person going, I get to eat 5,000 calories a day. I'm like, yeah, dude, you're going to drop weight like crazy because it's half of what you're eating now. So yeah, caloric deficit is just basically eating less calories than your body requires to maintain itself.
Wow. There you go. Simple. But, people make it complicated. People
Well,
make
they
it
do.
real
And, well,
complicated.
and we're renaming shit all the time. Like people now
Yeah.
will be like, I'm doing a recomp. I'm doing a body recomp. What do you think about body recompositioning? It's like, you mean losing weight or building muscle? Like, what do you think about intermittent fasting? Oh, not having breakfast? Fucking, that's been the typical North American diet for freaking forever. Someone
Yeah.
skips breakfast or they have a freaking coffee and then they eat a shitty lunch and then they had to have a shitty dinner. And now we call that intermittent fasting. But it's like, you're not fasting, you're eating. Okay. Just because you didn't eat for 12 hours doesn't mean you're fasting. But yeah, it's like, again, we're taking very simple things and trying to make them complex. I don't know if it's for likes and clicks and views or what the fuck it is, but it annoys the hell out of me. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you said that little bit there with do they do it for the likes and clicks and views? Because as I'm assuming you get the same issue in your field like we do in ours, where people are doing stuff deliberately just to get noticed and stuff like that nowadays. Do you find social media has been negative on your industry more so than positive, or do you think there's a balance, and what's your opinion on that?
That's a good question. Probably a mix of both in some ways. I mean, it brings more awareness to things, but again, it's such a platform for misinformation, right? It's like so much stupid shit. And again, like, I'm surprised we're not like, walking around all hunched over because all people do is like work abs and shit. It's like, I don't work abs. I don't get my clients to work abs. It's the least freaking important thing to be focused on and shit like that. But it's always, abs on TV and abs here, abdominizer, blah, 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 all this bullshit. And now the latest thing is always seeing this new fat burning workout. Here's how you're going to blast that fat. It's like, newsflash, there's no fat burning workouts. Workouts don't burn fat. You're burning glucose. Okay. Fat loss happens while at rest, not while working out in the gym or exercising. And it's like, oh, here's to shed belly fat. You can't pick and choose where that fat is going to come from. If you lose 5 pounds of fat, it could come off your earlobes, your big toe. It could come off wherever the fuck it wants, but you can't say, oh, I'm going to do all these crunches and burn all this fat here. Doesn't happen. So there's all that kind of bullshit. It used to be you'd read conflicting stuff in fitness magazines. One page says one thing, the other page says something else. Now it's just social media shit. And it's usually some young hot chick or some young hot guy with this message and billions of followers and stuff like that. And it's like neither one of them together, no, fuck all, So yeah, in many ways, it's made things a little bit harder, I guess, because again, you're just battling misinformation all the time.
Yeah. Now with Nicole here, she's saying she tries to watch her portions and the intake and balance on her diet. And I guess this is referring or following up from the last thing. Does it vary when you get older? Should we do more exercise?
Right. So here's the thing. The funny thing is we should exercise. Well, when I think of exercise, it's always lifting weights. Okay. I don't get the clients to do cardio. I look at it as a waste of time. Why walk on a treadmill and burn 300 calories and then you eat a slice of bread and you've just got your 300 calories back or whatever. You could do things that are going to have a bigger return on your investment in time, such as meal prepping, making sure you've got good food options at home and stuff like that, educating yourself. If you're going to go and do an hour of cardio every day, instead of doing that, imagine what you'd learn in 7 weeks of reading about your food and shit like that. It'd just be much better time spent. So, I just lost my train of thought. What was she said about as we age. Yeah. So as we age, I actually get people to work out less. Because once we hit like 40 years old, in and around there, our bodies need more time to recover. Okay. So that guy who would go to the gym 5 days a week, 5 in a row, he's beyond the point of diminishing returns and stuff like that. If he's working out at the proper intensity, which is key, and most people don't. Okay. Again, you go to a gym, you watch most people, they're doing shoulder press like 8, 9, 10. They put the weight down, they're on their phone, whatever. That set did absolutely nothing. We have the law of adaptation. You have to give your body something to adapt to. So as soon as you pick a weight up, if you're aiming for 10, by the time you get to 6, you should be thinking, I don't know if I'm going to get fucking 8. It should be that difficult. And if you're not going, get the fuck up, there, you piece of shit. Boom. If you're not finishing a set like that, you don't have to swear, but at least using that kind of intensity, you're going to get nowhere. You're going to get nowhere. Yeah. And if you are working out with that type of intensity, it takes your muscles time to recover. So if you're going back to the gym a day later and doing the same shit over again, you're just constantly breaking your muscle down. You're not giving it that chance to recover. So my clients over 40 go to the gym 3 times a week, 45 minutes in and out. That's it. They don't do anything else. They don't have to do cardio. I don't give a shit if they go home and just lie on the couch the rest of the day. They're going to eat a specific way. They're going to lift with that type of intensity, and they're going to get the body they want.
Yeah, wow. It is amazing when I go into the gym and I'm watching all these people and they're doing what you said they just are doing is 8, 9, 10, then they throw the weights down. And this is what I did. This pisses me off too. When people throw down like 20-pound weights,
oh God,
you know, and it's like, and the first thing they're doing, they're getting on their phone and, you know, doing whatever they're doing on their phone. It's just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I've like in my studios, nobody threw weights around because number one, I'm like, okay, if you can pick it up, you can put it down properly too. And my dumbbells were fucking expensive as well. So bitch, don't be breaking that shit. But when you're in a big gym, and I remember being at Good Life, and it usually be the teenagers too, right? Like they're all dipshits in there. You know, you got a group of 4 guys. They're doing stupid shit. They're putting 800 pounds on a barbell and there's 2 guys on each side of it and some emaciated, skinny ano guy underneath the thing. I'm like, all right, kids, you're going to kill somebody. Okay. Like, let's not do this. But you're right. Someone will have a set of dumbbells that are nothing and boom, throw them on the floor. They're rolling halfway across the gym. They could trip somebody, whatever. And like, I don't even like seeing big guys. I've been to gyms where they have 200-pound dumbbells and the guys are dropping them on the ground and stuff. And it's like, okay, if you're in harm's way and you don't have an ounce of strength left and you need to drop that weight, I get it. You know, just make sure there's no one else around. But you should be using a weight that's manageable enough that you can bring it down under control. I never drop dumbbells anyway.
Yeah, nor do I.
No, it's so ridiculous.
So
ridiculous. Let
me ask you this: for the new people watching and people watching the replay, so if somebody is starting their fitness journey, what advice would you give them? Because let's be honest, like I said earlier, the social media, watching all these different people saying all these different things, and it can get very, very overwhelming. So, what would be your advice on somebody starting on their fitness journey?
All right. So basically hit the link in my bio, fill out my client application. And so that would be step number 1. But yeah, it's like, I'll tell you one thing though, all jokes aside, most people have no clue. They don't know anything about working out. They don't know anything about nutrition. They literally know nothing about it. Okay. People would be like, where do I get protein from? They don't even know, you know, they know nothing. And most people, you would see it New Year's Eve, they walk into, or New Year's Day, they walk into the gym, they're looking at labels on machines and shit like that. They don't know how to use it. Like, oh, hey, look, there's a treadmill. I know walking. I've been walking since I was 1. So they'll get on the treadmill and 2 weeks later, you don't see them again. So I would say invest in yourself. Okay. Invest in yourself, hire a professional to help you so that you understand this shit. That my check engine light comes on in my car. You think I'm freaking popping the hood? Fuck no. I don't know what the hell to do in there. Can't even see the damn engine. It's just covered in all these shields and stuff anyways. I'm going to take it to the dealership and someone's going to hook something up to it and do whatever they do because I have no understanding of it. But people think they're going to change their body just by guessing. They know nothing, right? So they're setting themselves up for failure. So number 1 would be if you're not going to invest in somebody to help you. And again, it is a minefield out there because most of these trainers, as we kind of touched on, don't know what the fuck they're doing anyways, but educate yourself. You know, even something as cheesy as look up the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding by Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's at least going to teach you something about working out. You know, learn some things about nutrition. I mean, we have the internet. We've got so much information right here. You know, pull that shit up. You're going to have to sift through, and some stuff is going to freaking make no sense to me, but you know, it might to them. But you've got to educate yourself. Don't just go into the gym with no plan, no idea what the hell you're supposed to do. And that's when it becomes very intimidating too, because it's not just that there's these other people in here that are far more advanced than you. You feel stupid. You feel out of place because you're like, I don't know what I'm doing in here. And so again, educate yourself. I mean, I even have a $99 PDF where I wrote a book for my clients that's like about 300 pages, and I condensed it down to 14. And it teaches them everything they need to know about how to lift weights and how to create a program, everything they need to know about their nutrition and how to create a meal plan specifically designed for them based on their caloric levels, requirements, and all this stuff. And if I had that information back when I first started, it would have been a gold mine for me, because it would have saved me years of trial and error, doing everything fucking ass backwards and stuff like that. And this is why most people give up, because they're not seeing any results, right? Because again, they don't know what they're doing. So number one is learn some shit before you get in there, you know, and that way you're going to not injure yourself. And the time that you do spend in the gym is going to be more productive, but you're going to be spending more time in your kitchen, making sure that your nutrition is on point if weight loss is your main goal. Because without your nutrition being on point, nothing's going to happen. Like I always say, you can't out-exercise a shitty fucking diet.
There you go. Wow. Lex, you want to talk about, I know we've been holding off on it. You want to talk about that video that's one of your favorites of Darrin's?
Yeah. Yeah, what's great is that you said something a minute ago that's exactly the same as the video. It made me laugh. But I'll start off on the point that brings it into it. Basically, it's like after I've watched a lot of your TikToks today. I was going through them, and I'm gonna say I felt inspired watching these things. I'm not gonna lie. And I was gonna say, like, the way you talk on these, the way you talk in general is very good. Like I said, the way you talk about these points in the videos, they do kind of hit you a little bit. You kind of feel like, yeah, I probably should do this or whatever. So you've got a motivational voice. But what I would like to ask you is, do you enjoy responding to those comments where you have to, where you insult them a little bit? There's one that made me laugh. The one I really enjoyed was the guy who said, working out is a waste of time. Right? Oh, yeah. And you read the comment and you're like, I can't remember the point you made exactly about saying, like, don't waste your time not looking after yourself or something like that. I think it's the point of the video. But it's the way you call him a dipshit that just cracks me up every single time I've watched it.
Yeah.
I think I've had it on 15 times today, just that one video, just because it made me laugh. But
that's a lot of dipshit.
It is. But do you enjoy responding to those kind of comments as well?
Well, here's the funny thing with that. So my TikTok, I've got about 700,000 followers. Now, like 500,000 followers I got in the first, I think, like 4 months on TikTok. And my account was getting 150,000 profile visits a day, 150,000 a day. Then overnight, it dropped to like a couple hundred, right? And my engagement dropped and stuff like that. So for whatever reason, I don't know if TikTok was like, man, this guy's information is too like legit. We need more bouncing titties and floppy cocks and stupid shit on TikTok that bring nothing of value to your life whatsoever instead of this guy's message. So back then when my TikTok was like crazy and all my videos were like millions of views and shit like that and 10,000 comments, there was a lot of people talking shit. Okay, so in the comments, there'd be a lot of shit, whether it was just like something like that guy's comment, you know, why work out? We're all going to die anyways kind of thing. But then a lot of personal attacks, you know, fuck you, boomer. And I'm like, I'm fucking Gen X, you bastards. I'm not a boomer, okay? Get your dates right. But, you know, all this kind of shit, you know, you've got dots on your skin. I'm like, yeah, they're freckles. Like, what is this? It's like fucking high school again. You know, I'm getting made fun of for shit. Yeah. So some of those people I would reply to, and I can throw a good burn out there. Okay. So I check out the person's profile and shit. And I'd be like, oh, fuck, look at this guy talking shit to me. And I would start ripping into him. Well, the sad thing is you start getting reported a lot for bullying and harassing people. So literally I had some piece of shit dude on one of my posts comments, fuck you, old man, you're going to be dead soon. And your wife's a whore. And I'm like, listen, I know my wife's a whore, but that's irrelevant. That's not true. She definitely isn't.
She's not. I hope that she's not there.
No, she's probably looking at TikTok at floppy tits and cocks. I don't know. But anyways, so he says this. So I look at his profile. This guy's 400 pounds if he's an ounce. And all his videos are taken from bed or the couch, right? It's the cat playing with something or fucking the cat taking his shit in its litter box in his house. Is disgusting. And I'm like, I'm going to die soon. I go, dude, look at the fucking state of you. I go, you're freaking morbidly obese. You're freaking bedridden or couch ridden. And your skin, your face, everything just looks like the vision of death. And all of a sudden, I get a notification from TikTok saying your comment's been removed for bullying and harassing. I'm like, what? I see the comment. I then reply back to this guy again. I'm like, did you just report me for bullying and harassing? He's like, yes, I did. All proud of himself. And I can't even retaliate because I'm just going to get another freaking violation. I had my account banned for a few months and shit like that because of these things.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm like, hold on. When I was a kid, bullying was you're just there doing nothing. And some asshole comes up and starts talking shit to you or slaps you around. Here I am, I post something and some asshole comes over, calls me an old man who's going to be dead soon and my wife's a whore. That's a bully. You know, the person replying and standing up for themselves, they're not a bully, but TikTok doesn't care about that shit, right? So I would have tons more videos like the one you're talking about. If I knew, I wouldn't have my account freaking deleted because I love that shit. It's like, bring it on, bitches. Come on, let's go. I'll fucking fight you tooth and nail with the burns and shit.
Because you can back it up. You can back it up.
Well,
you can back it up. And that's why. And these people out there, like these trolls that are saying all this crap and are unable to back it up. You, like, obviously standing there, you can back it up and what you've done with your life, you know, and the fitness journey and all these things. But one thing I wanted to ask you, and I see it all the time, and it bothers me. It really, really bothers me. All these pre-workout drinks, supplements, powders, whatever. It's because I know I've done a lot of research on supplements and powders and all that stuff. Generally, the research that I've done, generally those things like supplements and powders, your body can only consume up to 9 to 12% of those things. But food, your body consumes up to 90%. What would you rather take? But there's so many different powders and pre-workouts and supplements. It's like, what do people do? What do people do?
Yeah, it's great marketing for all that shit. So I actually have a good friend that owns a supplement company, a successful supplement company. And I used to be engaged to a girl that owned a health food store going way back. And I remember her sales guys would come in from time to time. And so if I was there, I would talk to them about the new latest, greatest product or whatever. So there was a product called, conjugated linoleic acid, CLA. And it's supposed to help with fat burning and shit like this, right? Now, the research on it says an effective dose for a male is 8 grams a day. Effective dose for a female is 6, which even that's stupid because it should be based on your actual size. So it should be so many milligrams per kilo of lean, whatever. But anyways, 8 for a man, 6 for a woman. But you look at the container. The container has 60 pills in it, and each one is 1,000 milligrams. So it says, not male or female, just serving size, take 2 pills a day. So that's 2 grams a day that you're going to take of this. So I brought that up to the sales guy, and I go, so tell me, like, actually, he wasn't even a sales guy. He was the owner of the specific company. And I go, why do you recommend they take 2 grams a day when the effective dose for a male is 8 and for a woman it's 6? And he says, cost. I go, cost? How does that affect your cost? He goes, no, not my cost. He goes, I sell that for $30 a bottle. And he goes, so someone's going to look at that and go, okay, 2 a day, 60. I get a month out of this. It's $30 a month. If I put down, they need to take 8 a day. They're going to go, fuck, this is only going to last me like 6 days or whatever. I ain't paying $30 for 6 days. He goes, it's not up to me to educate the public on what an effective dose is. We're just saying that's a suggested serving size.
Jesus, what a scam.
Yeah, he's like, I would rather sell that person a bottle every month for the rest of their life, and it does absolutely fucking nothing, than they never buy it at all. So that's just one example. Now, when we get into There's a lot of supplements where there's creatine, there's arginine, there's this, there's that, there's all these different things in there, nitric oxide boosters and blah, blah, blah. And they'll put a lot of the cheap ingredient in there and very little of the expensive ingredient in there, if it's even in there. And you'd look at the doses, it's like, well, that's not even effective. That's double the dose I need of creatine and 1/10 of the dose I need of this other thing. So like, that doesn't even make sense that you've put it like that. And when we get into pre-workouts and stuff, now my son is 30 years old and he's into all that fucking shit, right? I don't take any freaking supplements. I don't take pre-workout. But he'll be like, oh, I can't work out today, Dad. I'm like, why? I got no pre-workout. I'm out of pre-workout. I'm like, fucking Arnold didn't have pre-workout, you know, freaking the Greek fucking guys that they made statues out of that were jacked as fuck back thousands of years ago. I go, they didn't have pre-workout. I go, your food is your pre-workout. You have your pre-workout meal a couple hours before you go to the gym, and that's going to give you energy to work out. You don't need caffeine and fucking all these chemicals and stimulants and shit like that to go and work out. I mean, half the shit you even drink, they've done whatever they can to make the flavor nicer, but it's still, you're like, I know I'm drinking chemicals right now. It's just freaking garbage. Yeah, I mean, shy of a protein powder, like, and I'll use that post-workout because it's absorbed very quickly. But yeah, just eat good, natural, whole foods. Like, that's what I'm always telling people too. Like when you're talking about absorption rates and stuff, a lot of the processed shit we eat today, our bodies can't even process this stuff. I mean, it's processed and we can't process it. Again, it's not designed in a kitchen. It's designed in a lab to appeal to certain nerve centers in your brain and taste buds and frickin' to be as stable as possible for as long as possible and to be as inexpensive as possible for these companies to make. It's not about nutritional value and stuff for you. So like, I always tell people, it's like, only eat shit. And I don't always practice what I preach. I eat fucking shit too, but it's like, only eat foods that your great, great, great grandparents would recognize as a food source. So they're not going to know what a fucking Tyrannosaurus Rex chicken nugget is. They've never seen one before. They wouldn't even think of eating it. You know, a Cheerio, like they wouldn't know that. What the fuck is this? But if it's stuff that was plucked out of the ground or frickin' pulled out of a frickin' body of water or frickin' pulled from the sky, whatever, great. But all this garbage that we're eating all the time, and then looking at supplements to supplement the fact that we're not getting the nutrition we need because we're just eating this shit food. It's craziness, but it's a massive industry. And people often, when they're telling me, because with consultations, I would get people, they have a list of supplements, like hundreds of dollars, $1,000 a month, sometimes even more. And I'm like, your diet is shit. Your training makes absolutely no sense. And you're dropping a G note a month on freaking supplements. It's like, you're throwing your money away. Like we can have a second job that supplements your income. It doesn't replace your income, it supplements it, right? So it's like, don't be relying on supplements, rely on your diet. That is by far, 99.9% of any results you're gonna get are based on the foods that you stick in that hole in your face and not something that comes out of a jar, It's crazy.
Oh, that's
it's the line delivery kills me. It's so good. So
you know
good.
what? Nothing's really changed because he was the exact way in high school too.
I know, I just didn't have the balls back then. And within our group, it was fine, but outside of that, it wasn't easy being a new romantic and trying to look like a band member from Duran Duran in a high school where everybody's got concert t-shirts on for Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd. It's like first snowfall of the season.
The zipper pants were out. The zipper pants were out. And,
yes.
Yeah,
good old stitches.
You remember Sergio is doing the break dancing all the time.
Yeah, of course.
It just brings back so many memories. Lex, you want to ask the final and last question for Darrin?
Well, my last one for you is a very simple one, really. I just want to find out what's been your favorite moment of doing the online courses or the TikTok side of things, your favorite moment of doing all of that stuff, but also what's been your biggest challenge since post-lockdown, post-COVID? What's been the biggest challenge in your industry right now?
The online training really boomed during the pandemic. because again, you had people scared shitless to go to gyms. Well, gyms were closed, they're only letting 10 people in and stuff like that. So that really, I would say it peaked then. It's a big challenge now because it's saturated. Every online trainer's doing the same thing. You see all their posts. It's like, I'm looking for 5 men and 5 women that are willing to change their lives and drop 20 pounds in the next 4 weeks. You know, it's that same shit. And because we all learn the same techniques to, you know, for call to actions and stuff like that. So the worst part of the job is getting leads as an online coach. Okay. It's much easier when you're in a gym or when I had my studio, because if someone's coming to see you, there's a high probability that they're more than likely ready to invest. When you're talking to people online, you've got a bunch of tire kickers that are just looking for free tips and shit like that. They're not looking to invest in themselves. They will just suck the information out of you. And like, I have virtual assistants that work for me too. One from Philippines and one from Guatemala, because they don't expect to get paid that much money. But I treat them well. What am I saying? Anyways, so they're in my DMs because I fucking hate it in there. I hate it. I can't stand talking to these people until it gets to a point where it's like, okay, Darrin, you need to come in now and kind of take over. But they just act like me. So they just swear and say bro and shit like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So many
I'll tell you
times
right
when
now,
I message you, I was talking to your virtual assistant.
Yes, probably. Especially you sound like Yoda every now and then. I'm like, dude, that's not good English. Okay. Like, what the hell? You phrase a sentence all fucked. And so yeah, that can often be the case. And I'll tell you right now, any person that has any significant online following, they're going to have VAs in there because it's just, it's too much. I could get literally some days to be literally thousands of freaking messages and shit like that. Like, it's just crazy. But yeah, so that's the biggest pain in the ass, finding good leads. And, you know, having even you book calls and shit, Zoom calls and that, having people show up for them. I had to start charging people because I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm not booking the call unless you pay up front and stuff like that. But that's pretty much the worst part. One of the best things, I guess, when I first got on, and TikTok would be the one. Instagram and Facebook didn't really blow up for me that much, but TikTok definitely did. And it was one of my first 200 followers was Gordon Ramsay, who I'd actually met before. And so that was really cool seeing him follow me. At that time, he was only following a couple hundred people. Now I think he follows thousands. So there's been a few celebrities that followed me, which was awesome. And as well, when I was really blowing up, it was when I'd first come to Mexico. And in Playa del Carmen, there's a street called Fifth Avenue. And it's a big, long, very touristy street, okay? And you'll get hundreds of thousands of people going up and down that street during the day. And I stand out. I'm older, I'm bald, I have a white fucking beard with some ginger racing stripes, au naturel. And typically, if I'm feeling on point, I'm shirtless, okay? If there's an opportunity to take a shirt off, I don't know what happened, but it's gone. And when you're in a beach town, especially where there's tons of people walking around without a shirt, you don't even look like a douchebag. So it's perfect. You know, I wouldn't be doing that walking downtown Toronto. That's douchebag level right there.
No, that's true. That's true.
But if it's along the lakeshore or who knows, but anyways, but I would have people recognize me all the time. They're like, you're that guy from TikTok that swears and this, that, and whatever. I'm like, yep. So they come over, want to get pictures with me and shit like that from like kids. I had whole families come to me and stuff, which was kind of crazy. But yeah, there'd be people taking videos and then I would see it on their TikTok and I'm like, that fucker was cool. 2 tables from us and shit like that. But yeah, that part was kind of fun. And the whole social media thing, making the posts and all that stuff was kind of fun in the beginning too. Now it's kind of work because everything just relates to that. Like I love training people online and helping them because with my app and shit, I can see everything they're doing in the gym, everything, the food that they eat and all that stuff. And that's always been a fun part of my job, just improving people's quality of life. And but the having to be on social media all the time drives me kind of bonkers. And then it's like, oh shit, the algorithms changed. Now you got to do landscape videos and you got to edit them this way.
Yeah,
I'm like, good Jesus, come on, man. Just keep it fucking simple.
Yeah. So before we let you go, I want to ask one final question. What has been your best or success story of a transformation from a person that came to you? What's been your best or successful story?
Well, there's probably two. So there's one where she was average looking person. Well, maybe not average. Average is pretty shitty today. She had like maybe 20 pounds to lose or something, right?
Okay.
And as we were going through her transformation, like she had great genetics and her body was responding so well. And I was like, you know what? You should consider doing like fitness competitions and stuff. You know, just get up there with your rhinestone bikini and your heels and blah, blah, blah. And so she went from never working out or anything like that. Within her first 6 months with me, ended up competing, winning every show that she was in, earning her IFBB pro card, all within her first year. And that's when they would give one out per year to each category in the Canadian bodybuilding shit and whatnot. And she got it in her first go, and then ended up dominating the bikini scene and the IFBB and stuff like that. So that was one success story from I would always call my competitors and fitness models my Formula One division. You know, Honda creates a lot of Civics, but then they have Formula One cars, and that's where they learn all the really fine detail shit. So I'm taking people and making them insane, like with their body fat levels and shit like that. So she was one, but the one that really stands out the most was my female client, who was 5'5" and 495 pounds. And yeah, she came to me, she was 36 and she'd been on diets and shit since she was 8 years old. And she came to me and barely able to walk into my studio, like massive, fucking massive. And over the course of a year, like in the beginning, all we could do is go, here, take this medicine ball and walk 10 feet over there, and then sit down on the bench for a bit and then come back.
That's horrible.
Yeah, totally. She was dropping 20 to 30 pounds a month. Okay. And after a few months, she got down to, I guess she dropped her first 100 pounds, I think, in 4 months. And she was actually on a bicycle. I don't know what the hell this bicycle was made of, because she was still a solid freaking 395 or whatever, right? But she's on a bicycle coming in. I'm like, holy shit, Christine, what the fuck? You don't have to do cardio. She's like, I haven't been able to ride a bike since I was like 7. And she goes, so just being able to do this, right? So in her first year with me, she lost over 200 pounds, working out 3 times a week, eating thousands of calories a day. Okay. No weight loss surgery, none of that shit. She had several promotions at work. Her family members even started paying for additional training for her because she was doing so well. It completely changed her life. And that's somebody who could have been dead within the next 10 years, but it gave her a new lease on life. So yeah, it's those kind of things. Or a client that says, my 10-year-old daughter has been inspired by watching daddy change the way he eats and stuff. So she started to eat kind of the way I'm eating, and my daughter lost 30 pounds. And I'm thinking, fuck, your daughter shouldn't be 30 pounds overweight at that age, but whatever. At least she lost that 30 pounds. You inspired her. So, again, it's changing an individual's life, and then it has a trickle down effect where, they inspire other people in their lives. So yeah, it's great having people look amazing because it's so complex to get people super ripped up and stuff. And I can go, wow, look how great this person looks. That's because of me. But the real reward is when you basically save somebody's life. That's pretty huge, because the doctors for decades haven't accomplished anything with them, because all they like to do is this. Go get some of those, Doctors are more drug dealers than anything. Yeah, exactly.
So I was gonna say as well, especially in the days now where there's not a negative stigma on people being overweight anymore. Everyone is beautiful, no matter how big you are. No one cares. Don't be afraid of heart failure, right? Just be big and beautiful. And I think, I get what you mean. Where like it's how rewarding it is, not just for you but for them as well to come back into a healthy thing. I think I do miss the time where people were judged for being too big.
Yeah,
I mean, it is very dangerous.
No, I understand the whole body positivity shit to a reason, to a certain level. It's like, love yourself. Yeah, that's great. But the way we're putting a morbidly obese woman on the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. It's like, no, like aside from the fact that the only people that find that attractive are twisted, sick perverts, because I guess they have a lot of sexual options there. With the bigger the person is, I don't know. But yeah, we shouldn't be promoting that as like, this is okay. You know, it's one thing when I see an ad for clothing, Calvin Klein's got an obese model. It's like, well, they're trying to say, hey, we sell clothes for obese people too. You know, I can kind of see that, but there's no need to put an obese person on the cover of a freaking, you know, Sports Illustrated magazine, or having them win in beauty competitions and shit. It's like, I'm sorry, she's not fucking beautiful. Okay. We don't all have to be beautiful. Some of us are allowed to look average or less than average. We're not all 10s out of 10, you know, but that's the way the world is today. I did a post yesterday because I just came back from the beach, and forget the fucking Caribbean Sea. It was a sea of obesity. It was nothing but freaking cottage cheese and dimples and fucking no shame. You know, when they'd always talk about, oh, women have so much pressure to be thin. The only pressure I saw was on swimsuits yesterday. And fucking, there was no pressure on the people in them. They did not give a fuck, you know? I'm like,
yeah, you
shit.
know what? And we always say this, and we all know this. We live in a world that's very, very sensitive. And if you call somebody fat, you are now a bigot. You hate women.
You're fat
or
phobic.
You hate men. No, like I saw a woman on a podcast, and she goes, "What is wrong with me saying to another woman, you're fat?" I'm not insulting her. I'm just saying you're fat. That's it.
Yeah.
But people are so sensitive about everything today. You can drop a dime and somebody's going to get fucking upset.
Oh yeah.
You know,
well, you're seeing a lot of these big lifestyle people now where it's like talking shit about I shouldn't have to pay for 2 seats on a plane. It's like,
look at this.
I shouldn't have half of my seat taken up by your fucking ass. You know, are you fucking kidding me? You shouldn't. It's like, oh, I'm sorry you don't fit into anything. Here's an idea. Eat less, you fat fuck. Like, what the fuck? You know, I remember checking in at an airport and my carry-on luggage was over by 5 pounds. So they want to charge me $100 or something like that. Meanwhile, there's a family of 4. The skinniest one was 100 pounds overweight. I'm like, how much are you fucking charging them for being too heavy? I go, like, what the fuck? I'm $175, you know, and my bag is 5 pounds over. That whole family's 3,000 fucking pounds. And, you know, but their luggage is okay, so they don't have to pay any extra. I go, what kind of nonsense is this?
It's funny. I never ever thought about that. Never ever thought about
Trust me, these are the fucked up things that go on in my head all the time. You know, it's like, I remember going through a revolving door one time into a hotel with a buddy of mine, and there's a woman coming out the other side. And we go through, he's like, geez, you see the weird hat on that woman? I go, the weird hat? I go, do you see the lazy eye, the gimpy fucking leg, the freaking way her belly looked like? I listed off 40 things. He's like, Jesus, dude. I go, look, that's my industry. I'm just constantly scanning people, looking for flaws. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's crazy that we have to accommodate that. You know, like this person here, Trish, saying there's a plus size section for children's clothes. I did a post where I did a duet, and it's this grossly overweight little kid at Popeyes eating his chicken. And he's like, Popeyes, whatever. And then I just come on. I'm like, this is fucking child abuse. Way to go, parents. Way to go. And the amount of comments that I had where people are like, what do you mean? What's child abuse? He's just eating. Let him eat his chicken. I'm like, listen, idiot, I'm not fucking there taking the chicken out of his mouth. I'm pretty sure he ate his fucking chicken. And he's not hearing me going, look at this fucking obese kid. I go, his parents are killing him. I go, he is going to grow up to be a morbidly obese man who's going to have 10, 20 years stripped off his life. His whole time while growing up, he's going to have yeast infections in his folds and be really uncomfortable and shit. They're like, he'll grow out of it. It's like, he will not grow out of it. They don't. It's not like back in the 80s when you had some husky genes, you know, but you're going to grow out of the shit. It's like, no, this is a whole other level. Okay. This is someone who has his mentors in his life, his parents, 100%, they're the same size. And they're just passing on their habits. Like when people are like, oh, it's genetics. My whole family's big. It's not your fucking genetics. There's no one's got obesity. How come no one in fucking Ethiopia has obesity genetics in their family? You don't see You don't see 8 kids in a mud hole. They're all fucking emaciated. Then there's one 300-pound kid there, and they're like, "Wow, I wish I had his fucking jeans." You know, like they're all fucking skinny.
Can you just imagine like the Give Aid advert, and they're like showing you all the starving people, and then you see the 300-pound one? I'm not giving him any.
No, exactly. It's like that's where all the aid went. That's where all the money from fucking the 80s went to that kid, fat prick. No, but yeah, it's like it's not your genes weren't handed down, your habits were. You eat donuts for breakfast and you drink chocolate milk. You're 45 and you drink chocolate milk like a 3-year-old, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem resolves itself in the future. I think at some point, not too far off, I don't think from now, to be honest, we'll have the supersized celebrities that will probably die young. Lizzo is probably one of them. And I think when that happens, then I think we'll see the shift in society again. I think not until something important, a big important person dies, but will the society make a change?
One of my favorite actors, died very young, and that was John Candy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And he was a large man.
Yeah.
And you know what kills me about that? His father died the same way.
Mm.
And his father was a very, very large man as well and died of a massive heart attack, as did John Candy. And the interesting about that is my cousin used to babysit John Candy's kids.
Oh, okay, crazy.
But he was same thing with Chris Farley. But I think Chris Farley's was more of a drug problem, not necessarily obese.
Well, I'm sure if he was in shape, the drugs probably wouldn't have had the same effect on him.
Yeah.
You see, true. I mean, like your body is just when you're obese like that. I mean, we see what's going on the outside, but you don't see that your liver's like foie gras. And, your heart and everything is just riddled with fat. Your lungs don't have room to expand properly and shit like that's all that visceral fat inside that's fucking with everything. And that's why most of the people too, during COVID that died, a very high percentage of them were obese people because their bodies are struggling just to fucking survive. And then you put something else on the table and it's like gone. So yeah. And But see, we've got that fucking singer or rapper Lizzo or whatever, the big fucking black chick who dresses like in freaking G-strings and shit on stage. Like, what the fuck? Like, I just don't understand. Like, I've never listened to her music. It could be awesome, but I saw a thing of her she was getting into a golf cart or something behind the scenes, and the fucking golf cart nearly flipped over just because she sat in the thing. It's like, at what point is enough? Like, already your shadow can't even be distinguished as a human body. It's like, what is that? A grizzly bear? I don't know what I'm looking at there. It's fucking a hippo on its side. What is that? It's like, no, it's a fucking grown woman standing there. But yeah, it's crazyville. It's just crazyville that we're making this lifestyle, acceptable. But doctors are doing it too, because they're like, no matter how much diet and exercise, you're not going to get rid of that. It's a disease. Obesity is a disease. It's like, it's not a disease. It's a lifestyle choice. And if it is the disease, then I'm the fucking cure. But it's crazy.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, definitely well said. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on today's show. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, and I have to be honest. When a lot of times when you were talking, obviously I was listening to what you're saying, but I thought back to the high school days and the way we spoke about people back in those days as well.
Imagine.
And it was funny, but again, I want to thank you so much for coming on today's show. Lex?
Yep, I just want to say, first of all, I want to say how great you look on, like you look more jacked here than you do on your TikTok, dude. Like I didn't think it was any. But I want to say it was an absolute pleasure talking to you. I followed your page today as well. I'm going to keep up to date with that. Like I said, it was I'm not in the best shape. I do think listening to you is someone that could motivate me to try and get better. So I want to thank you for coming on, sharing your time with us, and talking to us honestly as well. I think
I lied through the entire thing, just so you know. That's the only honest thing I've said today.
You can take the strap. You can take the strap off now. Let it all out. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Yeah, thanks, Lex. Before we let you go,
let
people know where they can follow you and where they can find you.
Okay, so you could probably even just Google me, Darrin Robinson, Darrin, Darrin, just like it says right there on the screen, Darrin with an I, or even go to my website, darrinrobinson.com. You'll find links to my socials and shit there. I don't even know the names of my fucking socials, to be honest. Darrin Robinson, FO, 4 O's. I don't know. There's all these acronyms and shit like
There
that.
we go.
But there we go. There he is. Look at that sexy bitch. So yeah, go to the website. You find links from there. Again, if you're interested in getting shape in a very sustainable way, definitely contact me, and I can show you how easy it actually is when you do things properly. Very minimal impact on your life and all that shit. But other than that, if you want to go on my social media to talk shit, by all means, let's go.
Fantastic.
I know I don't.
Okay.
I know enough. I don't. And I think I'd like to see you and Lex go a little bit at it. I think that would be fun to see.
Okay.
Because Lex is exactly like you, Darrin. Perfect. Exactly like you. He's got no filter, which is great. Yes. I love it.
I'm not scared of being cancelled by anybody. I don't care.
Yeah, no. In a way, it would be like a great weight would be lifted if you were canceled. It's like, fuck, finally. Jesus, why did it take so long? God.
Thanks, Darrin. Okay, you have a great rest of the day. And again, thank you so much for being on our show, okay?
All right, brother.
We'll definitely talk soon, buddy.
Okay, take care.
Okay, ciao.
Take care.
Wow, that was fantastic. That was a lot of fun, and honestly, it was different. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know about you, Lex, but I was a little nervous.
I was definitely nervous going into
spectrum.
I was nervous. I was like, I don't know how to frame a question to someone in this thing, like, because I don't want to say the wrong thing, like I don't know if I was going to would he be in trouble if I mentioned the Bozzy positivity movement? Like, would that you know what I mean? Yeah. I know what I can get away with asking in the paranormal, so I was a little bit nervous about that. But I think the more we got through it, and it was great having him as the first guest of the new format because he's obviously, as you saw, he's so easy and great to talk to. Yeah. So that made it more a bit easier for us to go through. But no, it was definitely kicking myself at the beginning. Like, I hope we're ready for this. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this. So I enjoyed it.
Well, I will say that I do have a couple of other pages that I don't commonly shout out all the time, but they are health pages. So I did put them on those pages as well. So let's hope it gets seen. And again, his links are in the description below. I put his Facebook and I put his TikTok. So just click on that link and it'll take you right over there. And let's get him to 700,000. He's at 695. Let's get him at 700. Yeah. Let's get him to 700. I'd like to see that.
I'm going to check this on the next show and see if he gets there. So if you guys do your thing on the replays, you need to go onto this TikTok page when it focuses. Give him a follow and try and get him to 700,000. If we can help him do that, that'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But any last words you want to say before we go?
No, just again, it was great to see you. It's great to be back, and I'm very happy with the way the show went today. And obviously, it was a pleasure speaking to Darrin. So I'm looking forward to seeing the next one. And thank you guys for coming in, and thank you for some of the questions in there as well. I know Trish and Trish mentioned some stuff. We also had Nicole as well, which was great.
And we had some stuff at the beginning from Matt and Raymond
and boys, AJ, Raymond, Matt.
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm back too. I missed you, and I'm sorry I didn't message any of you guys when I was taking my breather, but I'm back now, boys.
Yeah, back in full swing and ready to. How long?
How long what?
Are you? How long? Like another year, and then you'll disappear for another year?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens in it. 6 months.
Okay.
That depends, bro. It depends if I get upset with you again and leave.
Oh, stop it. Don't start that. The problem with saying that is people fucking believe it.
I can't wait for that to be out. Someone will put it out of context. But Lex admitted it. Yeah. But no, I didn't.
And just to let you know, there is going to be a little bit more swearing. We're not going to be so prim and proper.
No,
We're
we don't
gonna-
give a shit anymore.
No, well, usually I am, and you're the one that goes off handle. But I'm
Oh, yeah,
usually the
true.
one that's I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm gonna
Just
do
say it
me.
how it is.
I'm gonna
Enjoy
do
it.
me. So if I feel something, I'm gonna say it, and it's no holding back anymore.
Exactly.
Ugh. Yeah.
See, I told you, Darren's motivated. You see that? We feel strong. See that?
Yeah.
We feel strong.
Well, also because I tend to eat properly, and I also go to the gym.
Oh, I don't. I'm still
Yeah.
on that Dr. Pepper membership, apparently. So
Yeah. How is your Dr. Pepper?
I don't drink the bottles anymore. I now
Good
buy
for
the I,
you.
I buy the big box of cans, and every now and then I have a can, but I don't have them every day anymore.
That's good.
So,
Now, Darren's still in the back there, and I want you to hear this, Darren. Okay, I want you to hear this. This
oh,
guy used to drink 2 liters of Dr. Pepper a day.
and yet I'm not fat yet.
He's
So I'm just
shaking his head. He's
I'm a
shaking.
bit
Can you see
large.
him?
I know.
Can you-
I know. I can't see him, but I can imagine.
2
I know.
liters a
It's just,
day.
I
And
know.
then,
I
on
drink
top
water
of that,
now, so
the smoking.
yeah, I still do that, but
Yeah.
yeah, got to cut
What
one thing
else?
out at a time.
And there was other things that you used to drink too, as well.
Red Bull and energy drinks. I used to drink like 2 or 3 cans of Monster a day as well. Like it was
he's
bad.
31, but I guarantee if he had a stress test or those tests along those lines, his heart would probably be about 75.
Yeah, it was rough. I'm better now. I have 1 cup of coffee in the morning. That's it. I have a tea before I go to bed, but during the day I drink water, so I'm getting a lot better.
See, I don't drink coffee, and I don't drink tea. I don't like
see,
either.
Tea because I'm English has to be done. I'm
So,
English.
Yeah.
And coffee to wake me up. Other
Oh,
than
that's
that,
bullshit. What? That's bullshit. I drink
I
tea
love
because
coffee.
I'm English.
Yeah, that's it.
Everybody
Tea and
drinks.
crumpets, mate.
Okay, everyone. Everybody have. I want to come out with a new line instead of just saying "Have a fantastic week."
Everybody have a shitty week, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday.
Everybody have a fantastic week, misters. Everybody have a fantastic week. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm probably going to get some shit for that. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Stay safe. Bye.